What's up, guys? This is Chris from DraftDashboard.com. Here are my DFS picks for NBA Monday, March 14th. These picks apply for DraftKings and FanDuel. Before I get started, please drop a like on this video and hit that red subscribe button and hit that bell icon so you don't miss our new videos. In this video, I'm going to go over my top picks for today's NBA slate. And if you stick around to the very end of this video, we'll use the Draft Dashboard tools to make a DFS lineup using the picks we just made. Okay guys, we have a 9-game slate here tonight, and all of our picks hit 5 times value or more yesterday or last night. So that was awesome. So let's see if we can do that again. I doubt it, but we're going to give it our best shot here. So at the point guard position, I like, oh, he's a point guard, also eligible at the shooting guard position. I like Kobe White from the Chicago Bulls playing the Sacramento Kings, who have the 3rd worst defense overall. They give up the 12th most fantasy points to opposing point guards. Kobe White has averaged 24 fantasy points per game on the season, playing an average of 28 minutes per game with a 20% usage rate. Now, he's projected at 24.6 fantasy points here tonight, but I think he can score 28 fantasy points or more, get you 5 times value or more. He is $5,300 DraftKings salary, the same price on FanDuel, and Kobe White has scored 32, 19, and 31 fantasy points in the last 3 games, playing 35, 28, and 34 minutes. So his minutes per game have got a nice uptick the past 3 games. So I'd like to see Kobe White for 30 plus minutes here tonight. So I like Kobe White here versus the Sacramento Kings. Oh, and just to mention, Kobe White scored 51, 32, and 52 fantasy points in his last 3 games versus the Kings. I like his price on both sites. I think he's got a good chance at hitting value here tonight, so I like Kobe White. And I also like Ayo Dosunmu from the Chicago Bulls playing the Sacramento Kings, who have the 3rd worst defense overall. And Ayo Dosunmu has averaged 19.4 fantasy points per game on the season, playing an average of 27 minutes per game with a 14% usage rate. He's projected at 22.5 fantasy points here tonight, but I think he can score 26 fantasy points or more, get you 5 times value or more. He's $5,100 DraftKings salary, $600 more on FanDuel. So I would definitely prefer Kobe White over there on FanDuel, but on DraftKings, both these guys are in decent spots for their price point. Good matchups, and they've been playing a lot of minutes and have been pretty productive over the past 3 games. So Ayo Dosunmu, he has scored 33, 30, and 24 fantasy points in the last 3 games, playing 36, 36, and 31 minutes. So lots of minutes for these guys, and their salary is totally reasonable for this matchup. So I like Ayo Dosunmu here versus the Sacramento Kings. Before I continue with the picks, I'm excited today because we added a new contest for everyone watching. If you want to enter the drawing for $25 PayPal, all you need to do is like this video, hit that subscribe button, and make a quick comment below to be entered into the drawing. We'll reply to a random comment and let you know that you won, and we'll send you $25 PayPal. So it's that easy, and we pick a new winner every Saturday and announce them in our video. So get your comment in now so I can add another entry for you. Okay, let's take a look at the shooting guard position. Now, I do like Terry Rozier. He's $8,100 DraftKings salary, same price on FanDuel, from the Charlotte Hornets playing the Oklahoma City Thunder, who have the second worst defense overall, give up the 9th most fantasy points to opposing shooting guards, also eligible at the point guard position. He's got a good matchup here tonight, and his salary is reasonable. He's got that 50-plus fantasy point upside, scored 47, 30, 56 fantasy points in the last 3 games, playing 33, 38, and 37 minutes. So I like Terry Rozier here versus the Oklahoma City Thunder. And I also like, as a value play, take a look at Josh Richardson from the San Antonio Spurs playing the Minnesota Timberwolves, who have a middle-of-the-pack defense overall. They give up the 6th most fantasy points to opposing shooting guards. Josh Richardson has averaged 18.1 fantasy points per game on the season, playing an average of 24 minutes per game with a 16% usage rate, but he's got a big boost in minutes the past couple of games, scored 35 and 24 fantasy points in the last 2 games, playing 36 and 34 minutes. I think he can score 25 fantasy points or more and get you over 5 times value. He's 4,500 DraftKings salary, 300 more on FanDuel, and he's even played pretty well versus the Timberwolves, probably in limited minutes. He scored 23, 23, 36, and 23 fantasy points in his last 4 games versus the Timberwolves. But if he's going to play 34 to 36 minutes this game, I think he's a fantastic value play. So I like Josh Richardson here versus the Minnesota Timberwolves. Okay, let's take a look at the small forward position. Here's a value play for you. Take a look at Javonte Green from the Chicago Bulls playing the Sacramento Kings. Lots of value in this game, especially from the Chicago Bulls. The Sacramento Kings have the 3rd worst defense overall, give up the 9th most fantasy points to opposing small forwards. Javonte Green has averaged 17.4 fantasy points per game on the season, playing an average of 24 minutes per game with a 12% usage rate. Now, this is more of a dart throw play. He's only 3,800 DraftKings salary, 200 more on FanDuel. He scored 27, 10, and 18 fantasy points in the last 3 games, playing 26, 16, and 36 minutes. So those minutes are all over the map, and same with his production. So high risk here, but it's a good matchup, and his salary is low. So I like Javonte Green as a dart throw here versus the Sacramento Kings. Okay, let's take a look at the power forward position. I like Miles Bridges from the Charlotte Hornets playing the Oklahoma City Thunder, who have the 2nd worst defense overall, give up the 3rd most fantasy points to opposing small forwards or power forwards. He's eligible at small forward and the power forward position. And Miles Bridges has averaged 38.4 fantasy points per game on the season, playing an average of 36 minutes per game with a 22% usage rate. He's projected at 38.2 fantasy points here tonight, just about 5 times value. He's 7,800 DraftKings salary, and he's 800 less on FanDuel. So I love that FanDuel price. Vegas thinks there's going to be 231.5 points scored in this game, and Miles Bridges has scored 54, 30, and 39 fantasy points in his last 3 games, playing 29, 39, and 39 minutes. So I like Miles Bridges here versus the Oklahoma City Thunder.
Real quick, guys, I got great news. For a limited time, we're offering a full 30-day trial to Draft Dashboard. You can try all of our DFS tools for all sports. You can try the Position Optimizer, where you can see the top players ranked for each position. And we added a new Player Trends tool, where you can see the top salary differences between FanDuel and DraftKings. It's a really good tool to help you pick out value for the site that you're playing on.
Oh, and if you're tired of doing research every day, we just added a cheat sheet
that shows hand-picked plays for the slate. No confusing stat lines, no headaches, just a simple cheat sheet that shows the absolute best players for your lineups.
Okay, now I've got a value play at the power forward position. This would be DraftKings only. If you need a player to save some salary, who's got 25 plus fantasy point upside and could crush value on DraftKings, take a look at Rui Hachimura from the Washington Wizards playing the Golden State Warriors, who have a good defense overall. They've been good versus opposing power forwards. Rui Hachimura has averaged 17.1 fantasy points per game on the season, playing an average of 19 minutes per game with a 21% usage rate. He's projected at 18.2 fantasy points here tonight, and that's 5.1 times value. He's only $3,600 DraftKings salary. Now he is 1,000 more on FanDuel, so this would be a DraftKings play for me. Vegas thinks there's going to be 225.5 points scored in this game. Rui Hachimura has scored 16, 27, and 25 fantasy points in the last 3 games, playing 17, 25, and 24 minutes. So just hoping that he can get 20 minutes or more here and squeeze out 20 fantasy points or more. Be a good value play on DraftKings. So I like Rui Hachimura as a value play on DraftKings here versus the Golden State Warriors. Now, another power forward you could look to here tonight. We picked him yesterday and he crushed it. I think he's a good pick again here tonight, even though it's a back-to-back. Take a look at Darius Bazley from the Oklahoma City Thunder playing the Charlotte Hornets, who have the second worst defense overall, give up the third most fantasy points to opposing power forwards. Also eligible at the center position for some reason, Darius Bazley has averaged 24.3 fantasy points per game on the season, playing an average of 28 minutes per game with an 18% usage rate. He's projected at 25.1 fantasy points here tonight. I think he can score 28 fantasy points or more, get you 5 times value or more. He's $5,300 DraftKings salary, 100 more on FanDuel. Vegas thinks there's going to be 231.5 points scored in this game, and Darius Bazley has scored 51, 28, and 18 fantasy points in the last 3 games, playing 38, 34, and 21 minutes. So a big uptick in minutes the past couple of games. Now this is a back-to-back, but he's a young guy. He should get plenty of minutes, and he only needs about 26 or 27 fantasy points to get you 5 times value. I think that's totally reasonable, especially in a good matchup and a high-scoring game. So I like Darius Bazley here versus the Charlotte Hornets. Okay, moving on to the center position. You got Nikola Jokic, Giannis Antetokounmpo, LeBron James even eligible at the center position, but I would go with Giannis or Jokic for that big-time stud play. You also got Karl Anthony Towns in a good matchup versus the San Antonio Spurs. But if you're looking for a stud and you want to save a little bit of salary here and a guy who's had good success versus this team, take a look at Pascal Siakam from the Toronto Raptors playing the LA Lakers, who have the 4th worst defense overall. They're middle of the pack defending opposing centers. Also eligible at the power forward position, Pascal Siakam has averaged 43.4 fantasy points per game on the season, playing an average of 38 minutes per game with a 26% usage rate. He's projected at 44.2 fantasy points here tonight. It's just about 5 times value. He's $9,100 DraftKings salary, $700 less on FanDuel. So I like that FanDuel price. I think his DraftKings price is just fine as well. And Vegas thinks there's going to be 224.5 points scored in this game. Pascal Siakam has scored 54, 52, and 37 fantasy points in the last 3 games, playing 35, 40, and 37 minutes. Now, you know what? I'm going to be honest here. Whenever I play Pascal Siakam, he just seems to have one of those subpar games where he gets like 38 fantasy points, and that's not going to get it done at 9,100 DraftKings salary. We're looking for that 44, 45 plus fantasy point performance to get us 5 times value or more. But he has played pretty well here versus the Lakers, scoring 71, 44, 40, 52, and 38 fantasy points in his last 5 games versus the Lakers. So 3 out of those 5 would have been 5 times value or more, where one of those games he totally crushed value, and the other one decently crushed it, and then the other 2 just close to 5 times value. So he has some good success here versus the Lakers. So I think if I'm going to play Pascal Siakam, this is the game I want to play him. So I like Pascal Siakam here versus the LA Lakers.
If you want to try all these daily fantasy tools for yourself, click the link in the description below this video or just go to draftdashboard.com. You can use our DFS lineup optimizer to build quality lineups using our picks and your own custom player pool. Click the link in the description below this video and try all these daily fantasy tools right now. Thanks so much for watching. Oh, and don't forget to subscribe to this channel and hit that bell icon so you can get instant updates whenever we post a new video. Thank you so much for watching, everyone. If you enjoyed this video, please smiggity smash that like button and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Oh, and please comment below with your favorite player for this NBA slate. I love to hear what you guys have to think. Thanks again and good luck.